Track 32.
So, what type of meal do you think we should have at the party, Jane?
I don't know, Mike. Do you have any ideas?
What do you think about preparing a Mexican meal?
I really like Mexican food, and we could have some fun Mexican party games, but I think it might be too spicy for some people.
That's true. We could have pizza. Everybody likes pizza.
I think we should have something healthier.
I know. We could have salad and roast chicken.
That sounds like a good idea. And it's fairly simple to prepare. Let's do that.
Track 33.
So, do you think that we now have everything ready for the meal?
Almost. I was just wondering what would be the best way of preparing the potatoes.
Well, you could just boil them and serve them with the fish.
That would be easy, but I don't think it would be very exciting.
What about frying them? Everybody likes fried potatoes.
They aren't very healthy, though, and I haven't got much oil left.
You could bake them and serve them with the salad Ellie's preparing.
That would taste good, but it takes ages to bake potatoes in the oven. I know, I'll boil them and then put them with Ellie's salad.
Track 34.
Before we go back to the flat, I think we need to check we have everything that we need.
Okay, well, you went to Arcadia, so I imagine that you got the strawberries and apples from there.
Yes, I did.
Did you notice if they had any cucumbers while you were over there?
I'm not sure. I thought you were going to get them.
Well, I went over to Best Buy and I got some nice carrots and peas, but I didn't like the look of the cucumbers.
Oh, I suppose we can go there on the way back to the station.
Don't forget, we need to get some cakes and pastries too. We can get those after we've been to Hampton's to get the lamb and chicken.
Okay, good plan.
Track 35.
In this new series of Talk of the Town, we'll be looking at the different restaurants in and around Ogdenville and getting some tips and recommendations from our resident food critic, Chris Griffin. So, Chris, where have you been this week?
Well, one restaurant that I really enjoyed is Adam's. It's on the town square. I ordered a steak au poivre, and it was perfect.
What's that?
It's a steak in peppercorns. It's quite a typical French dish.
So, is it a French restaurant or a steakhouse?
Well, the chef is French, but it serves food from all over the world. It has a wide variety of dishes. One word of warning, though, it gets really busy at weekends, so you should check they have places before you go.
Have you got any other recommendations for us this week, Chris?
Oh, yes. I can really recommend The Duke on Smith Street. I had lobster, and it was really tasty. It also has a few vegetarian dishes, but it's the fish dishes that make it famous in the town. The food isn't that low cost, though, so you might want to save going here for a special treat.
What about people who are on a budget? Have you got any suggestions for them?
Yes, I have. The Tower in Market Street is a fashionable restaurant where people can get a good meal at a reasonable price. I had a pizza, but it isn't a fast food restaurant. It specialises in all different types of food from Italy. I've heard that the lasagna is especially good.
Thanks, Chris. You certainly have given us all food for thought.
Track 36.
I suppose one thing that everybody knows about Japanese, Chinese, and Korean cooking is that they all use chopsticks rather than knives and forks like people in the West. The chopsticks that people use in the different countries are quite different, though. In China, the chopsticks tend to be made of wood and are round at the end, whereas in Korea they're made of stainless steel and are rough at the end. This is because in the past, the emperor would use silver chopsticks, as they changed color if there was any poison in the dish. They can be quite tricky to use, but in Korea people use a spoon to eat their rice. In Japan, they use a variety of things to make chopsticks. Wood and plastic are the most popular now, but you can find bone, metal, and even ivory ones. If we look at the food of the different countries, it's very difficult to talk about China in general terms because it has many different cuisines. So it might be better if we look at Korean and Japanese food a little more. It's well known that Koreans tend to like spicier food, and red peppers can be found in a wide number of dishes. I suppose that everybody thinks of sushi when they think of Japanese food, but you can also find a lot of influences from all over Asia and even Europe. For example, tempura, which came to Japan from Portugal. Those aren't present in Chinese and Korean food. Traditionally, in both Japan and in Korea, meat plays less of an important role than in Europe, perhaps because it's so expensive due to the lack of space for keeping animals. That said, both the Japanese and Koreans enjoy meat. Barbecues of all types are popular in Korea, and beef forms the basis of many special meals in both of the countries. Now, moving back to Chinese cuisine.
Track 37.
Today in the studio, I am pleased to have with me the famous chef Graham Shepherd. Graham has just come back from Beijing in China, where he was making a TV programme on the food you can try in this historic city. So, Graham, what can you tell us about your trip? Was it how you expected it to be?
It was quite surprising, really. I suppose that most people think of Beijing duck when they think of Beijing. And I did try some of this tasty traditional dish. But with so many people from all over the country living in Beijing, there really are a lot of different foods from all regions of the country. One dish that I really enjoyed and I didn't expect to find was kebabs. These tasty snacks are originally from northwest China, but they're very popular street food in Beijing. They're especially popular as a tasty snack at lunchtime for school pupils. They have less meat and more vegetables than we are used to, so they're a bit healthier.
I'm sure that most people have tried kebabs, but did you try anything that might be unusual for our listeners?
Oh yes, one of the things that I had was jellyfish. It added a nice texture to the dish, but I thought it didn't taste of much. One dish that did have a strong taste was hot pot. The dish I had was made in the Sichuan style, so it was very spicy. What I found interesting was that the hot pot was put on a hot plate in the center of the table, and we were given a dish of raw food, and we chose what we wanted and put it into the pot ourselves, and got it out when it was ready. It was great fun, and very sociable, and very tasty.
I'm sure that you tried some of the dishes that we all know and love too. Can you tell us something interesting about them?
Of course, everybody knows about noodles and dumplings, but I doubt many people know how many different types there are. One of the highlights for me was learning how to make fresh noodles with a chef from northern China. The recipe of egg, salt, and wheat flour is quite simple, but to make the noodles by hand, you need to be quite a skillful chef. Something which is much simpler to make are dumplings. The basic ingredients are flour and water, but the beauty of this dish is that it's very flexible. You can fill them with whatever you like. I especially enjoyed one with raw prawns, but all sorts of meat and vegetables can be put in them.
Thanks, Graham. That's really interesting, but unfortunately we've run out of time. If you'd like to know more about Graham's adventures, the series will be starting on Thursday at 7 o'clock on Channel 9.